Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. Today is going to be a solo episode where I talk about shiny object syndrome, specifically when it comes to starting a new business or a new stream of revenue within your current business. So I love to scroll Instagram. I get ideas every day. Just this week, I had the idea to start a mobile spray tan business, a soft play company that rolls up to birthday parties in a school bus, like 3 other things. Like I am always thinking of other businesses in addition to my balloon business. And I've had to kind of put some guardrails in place so that I can quickly think through these ideas and get them out of my system. Now, some of them are great ideas, and I'm going to share some strategies with how I kind of vet those ideas before I go all in. And then others are terrible ideas, and I'm going to share how I get to that conclusion, again, before I waste too much time either researching or spending money or getting overly excited about an idea. I need to get them out of my system quickly so that I can get back to what is working, which is my balloon business. So we are going to take a quick break and head over to the UGlu Hotline for some great advice that sticks. And then I am going to talk about how to vet ideas for your balloon business, whether that's a new business or a new revenue stream, and how to find the good ideas and how to get rid of the ideas that aren't a great fit. Welcome to the UGlu Hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks, brought to you by ProTapes. ProTapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Artist, Pro Gaff, and our favorite balloon tape, UGlu, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations. If you have a tip, send me a DM on Instagram at The Bright Balloon. Today's tip is brought to you by Emily of Utah Balloon Creations, and it is a simple one, but it's go out and get yourself a wagon. She waited so long and didn't know why, and she said it's been a total game changer in her business. So get yourself one of those folding industrial wagons and just keep it in your van to relieve some of the back and forth when you are loading into a venue. Thanks so much, Emily, for your tip. All right, welcome back. Let's jump in. So if you have a shiny new business idea that you can't stop thinking about, before you buy a domain and start an Instagram account, today I just want to walk you through a simple decision filter to help you figure out if it's worth pursuing or just a distraction. So first up is this gut check. Is this an idea that you truly are excited about? Because I get excited about everything, and then 30 seconds later, I've totally forgotten about it, right? Oh my gosh, I should start a mobile spray tan business. And the reason I thought of this is because I was looking to get a spray tan. There isn't a place in my town, and I don't want to drive 45 minutes. So I thought if there was someone who could come to me, that would be amazing. Now, if I take 2 seconds to think about it, do I actually want to be spraying naked people in their homes? Not really. Do I want to be changing the color of the skin of a bride on her wedding day? No, thank you. That sounds like it could get bad really, really quickly. So a lot of times it's just this initial gut check of is this actually something that I need to do? And just because you can do it doesn't mean you need to be the one to do it. I know I'm capable of starting a business. I know I'm capable of launching a website and an Instagram and getting clients and marketing. But just because I know how to do those things, it doesn't mean that I'm the right fit to start a spray tan business. It makes almost no sense. So that gut check of is this actually something I'm excited about? Something a little bit more realistic is fringe, right? I have seen the fringe on the ceilings, the fringe backdrops. And for a minute I was I'm going to add fringe to my business. I still might. I love the fringe. I think it is so pretty. It aligns with the parties. But when I actually think about it, I hate making that stuff. The thought of sitting and tying piece by piece by piece, I would hate it. I hate storing stuff. I would hate the troubleshooting of all the, the rigging and how quick can we get it up. I don't actually think that's something I want to do. So I think you see these ideas, and they might seem like a great idea at first, but you can sometimes just get past them by being honest with yourself about, is this really something that I'm super passionate about, right? Can I explain to people why they need this at their event? Can I explain to people why this is the coolest thing ever? And if the answer is no, you're probably not going to even be interested in it in a week. So start with that gut check and just be honest with yourself. Next, and really important, is the idea of money or profit. Is this something you can make money doing? So the fringe walls, yep, it's profitable. You can charge enough and you can rent them over and over and you can make your money back on a fringe wall, which is why I'm still a little bit interested in it. If I think about what was one of my other ideas this week, buying a school bus, making it cute, and having a soft play gymnasium on the inside. Is that profitable? Well, sort of, right? Like, I don't know. How much am I going to spend on this? Like 10 grand to buy an old school bus and renovate it and buy all the equipment? Okay, that's not a huge startup cost, but what is someone going to pay for a birthday party? $500? So I need to do this 20 times before I even break even. And then after that, how do I keep breaking even? I have to pay someone to drive this thing and stand there as an attendant. Cleanliness, right? Like, do I really want to deal with kids getting hand, foot, mouth disease from my mobile birthday party bus? Like, that type of stuff talks me out of it because I'm suddenly realizing there's not much money to be made here, especially not in the first year. And if I go back to the gut check, is this an idea that I'm going to be super passionate about a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now? No, probably not. So it's out of my system. So I think thinking about the money is important. It's more important than how cool the idea is or how passionate you are about it. Something else that I once upon a time thought about was like candy charcuterie displays. And when I looked at the cost of candy and what you could sell a charcuterie for, the margins just aren't there. And could you make money doing that? Sure. Am I passionate enough about it to fight for that? No, not really. I know restaurants have really, really small margins. They're not making like 75% margins on the food that they're selling at their restaurant. But if you are a chef, if you're passionate about food, if this is your lifelong dream, like it's still probably worth it. For me, no. Like I want something that's going to make money in the first year. I don't want to have to be passionate about spray tans or school buses with birthday parties inside of them 10 years from now to make it feel worth it. And I know these are like random examples, but this is literally what's in my head at all times. It is a curse. But a little bit more realistic is something like the streamer wall. I had to kind of run through this whole scenario when I thought about getting marquee letters, right? I know a lot of balloon decorators have gotten marquee letters. And I think that's because the gut check is like, this is something that I can keep doing for the next few years. And then when you think about the profit and you realize once they're paid off, it's all money over and over and over, it's very profitable. So again, you get past step 1 and 2 and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of in this. I see where it's going. Another area in my business that I've considered is like a photo booth. I know a lot of people have photo booth rentals. When I'm honest about the gut check, I'm not super into photo booths. Like, I think a lot of people already have them. I don't really want to deal with tech. I don't really want to deal with troubleshooting. I don't really want to deal with even like the customization of the little digital photo frame that goes around it. So while I know a lot of balloon companies have a super profitable photo booth, for me, it's just not something I'm like super into. I thought about getting a flower wall, and I'll talk about why I didn't actually, another strategy I have, but there are other more realistic, I guess, revenue streams that could work into my balloon business. And even that, I have to kind of pump the brakes because not everything is something I'm super interested in doing. Another one is backdrops. I know a lot of balloon companies make a lot of money by having awesome backdrops that they put their displays on, and I really don't. I have like a circle hoop, I have some little wire frames, but in general, I don't have like the big wood panels. I don't do the customization, not because it wouldn't be profitable, but because I don't want to do it. Like my gut check is I'm lazy. I don't want to move heavy stuff. I don't want to have to go back every single time. So I think being honest with yourself and then thinking about potential profit are the two fastest ways to get your answer. And then number 3, I've kind of talked about this already, is time and energy. Like, do you have the bandwidth to do this? And is it going to cannibalize what you already have? So the idea of like eat into something that's already existing. So if I have a successful balloon business, if all of a sudden I'm going to start a spray tan business, right? Like, There's only so many hours in the day. If I'm going to go spray tan someone, I'm not. Also, side note, the spray tan is such a random example. This is something I know nothing about. I care nothing about. I just am seeing a hole in the market. Do not think that I'm like obsessed with spray tans. It's just a funny example I'm using. But I can't do that business alongside my current business. Not only that, but it has nothing to do with my current business. So I would essentially be starting over. So do I have the bandwidth to run my already busy business and start a fully different business, like a standalone business? No, I really don't. And I think even something that works into your balloon business, something like marquees, you might just decide, I don't have the bandwidth to do this. I don't have a crew to like set these up. I don't have anybody to go back and take down. I don't have a vehicle to move all these. Like, you might have a great idea that you're passionate about that is very profitable. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the time or energy to actually implement it, pass. It'll still be there when you do have the time and energy. And I like to actually just keep a running list in my phone of business ideas. You never know. If COVID 2.0 hits or something changes where you have to pivot, it doesn't hurt to have a long list of business ideas or revenue stream ideas somewhere for you to refer back to. The next one, this is step 4, and I talked about it. That's business compatibility. So does this align with your current business? If yes, it's already a better option than if no. Because again, spray tans and balloons have nothing to do with each other. Fringe walls and balloons, it's a lot closer of a fit. So I can just see how that would integrate into my business without a lot of time or energy. Okay, let's take a quick break, and then I'm going to talk about a few more strategies you can use to kind of assess your ideas, and then a couple of actual tactics you can use before you pull the trigger and put anything in place. This episode is brought to you in part by Having a Party Wholesale, your one-stop shop for all things balloons and party supplies. They carry everything from foils to frames, plus this month's sponsor, Calisan Balloons, known for their vibrant colors and soft shine. Stock up at havingaparty.com, and don't forget to use the code podcast at checkout to save 5% on your order. Support the brands that support the show and your business. Thank you so much to Having a Party Wholesale for your ongoing support for the Bright Balloon podcast. Okay, so I have talked about all of the things that I think about in my brain when I get a new idea, right? Is it something I'm really passionate about? Is it profitable? Do I have the bandwidth? And is it compatible with what I'm currently doing? If it's not like 100% yes to all of those, then I need to let it go or just table it until a later time. If I'm onto something, if I'm still thinking like, yeah, I really want to do this, I think this is a really cool idea, the next thing I do is run a test, like a low commitment, test it out. And you can do this a couple ways. If it's something really related, let's say a new item you're selling for balloons, like you do balloons already and you want to introduce delivery bouquets for birthdays. That is not a stretch at all. That's just like, I wouldn't even say that's a new revenue stream. That's just like a new offer. Before you put them on your website, before you make a bunch of prototypes, before you go to networking events and start trying to sell this, do like a little soft sell wherever you can. Post on Facebook that this is something you're doing. See if anyone responds. Send out an email to your newsletter list and say like, new offer, click here if you're interested. Even better, do like a pre-sale or get on the list for notifications when this is available. That's the least committed way to do this. You can just say, we're releasing this new thing. Sign up here to be the first one notified as soon as it's available. If nobody signs up, you have your answer. I heard this on another podcast and I love it. And it's this idea of let the world tell you. I feel like sometimes we feel like we need to have all the answers. We need to know if something is going to work. We need to know if it's profitable. We need to know if people are going to book it. We need to know everything in advance. And sometimes it's just a lot easier to do a little soft launch and let the world tell you. If no one's interested, you have your answer. If a bunch of people sign up for more information, you also have your answer. Same thing with pricing. Let the world tell you. Instead of asking your friends or your mom or Googling or ChatGPT, like, how much should I price this at? Throw a number out there and see if people buy it. If they don't, you kind of have your answer. It's probably too high. If everybody buys it, it's probably too low, right? You want to hit this middle ground in pricing where enough people buy it that it's proof of concept, but you're not giving it away for free. So kind of asking for feedback earlier than you think you should. And this is where I think I personally have had a lot of success because I'm not a perfectionist. I have typos. I will release things before I'm ready. I launched this podcast before I had anything figured out, right? Like I didn't have a website. I didn't have an Instagram. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have sponsors. I didn't have anything and no one was asking for it. And I just launched it. And if nobody listened, I probably would have ended it. But people started and it grew and it grew. And here we are 5 years later. So I think sometimes just throwing it out there and being ready to take the feedback and let the world tell you if it's something they're interested in or not is a really, really great strategy to get your answer quickly. And a lot of time you can get your answer before you've invested any money. If you have a network, this is another I think golden nugget. If you have a network of balloon friends, and I do, I am lucky that I have 5 best friends that I talk to every single day. And we share each other's stuff. And you might not have people that are this close to you that you'd be willing to share your work with each other. But if my friend, let's say Rachel was just on the podcast. You guys heard from her a couple weeks ago. If Rachel does an amazing fringe wall, I'm going to say, hey, Rachel, can I post that on Instagram and see if I get any likes? And she's going to be like, yeah. So I take her work, I post it, and I say, now offering fringe walls. And if I get no likes, nobody reaches out, no one seems excited, I have my answer. Or more realistically for me, I would put that in my newsletter. It's going out to my clients. I'm asking them to respond, yay, if you think you're going to book a fringe wall in the next year. I am looking for feedback before I have made a fringe wall, before I own a fringe wall, before I know what I'm going to sell a fringe wall for, before a fringe wall is on my website. I am trying to get that feedback super, super early. I did this with the podcast, actually. I kind of soft launched the retreat before it was really on sale. I started putting out feelers. Would anyone want to come to this retreat? Who would like a weekend to focus on XYZ in Lake Geneva with me, right? That was kind of scary because I was waiting for everyone to be like, not me. I'm not interested at all. And then I would have known before committing to a hotel and picking all the menu and, launching a website. Don't try to figure it all out before you ask the world for feedback. Another golden tip for getting feedback is asking the professionals that you work with. So event planners, florists, maybe some of your best customers, send them a little survey and just say, hey, I am thinking about launching this new business or this new product or this new revenue stream. And I actually just did this a couple weeks ago. And I listed the items that I was considering. And I'll be honest, it was a photo booth, a flower wall, fringe ceiling decor, and there was something else in there. I can't remember. And I just asked them to rank it. One was literally titled "Ew gross." I just was be honest. Is this not even cool? And, they were my friends. So they were honest. They were just "Ew gross. This is not even cute." And then number going all the way up to 4 was I think I have clients that would be interested in this. And 5 was I have clients that are already asking for this service. So that was a great way to get feedback. The fringe wall, again, got a couple of those 5s saying people are already looking for this and I might be the person to provide it. Again, the thing keeping me from the fringe wall is I don't know that I have the bandwidth to do it right now. It might be a future project for me or it might be a never project, but right now I'm really booked and I have 2 little kids. So the fringe wall for me, while I love it, I think it's so pretty. I'm not going to make them and I don't really feel like investing a bunch of money right now before I have people already committed and it's just not the time for me to launch something new. But asking your industry contacts for their feedback can be a really, really great way to not only get feedback about your ideas, but also find new ideas. They might have things that people are asking for that you've never even heard of that align with your offerings, like decor or, who knows, maybe you're a fabulous artist and you do caricatures and that's a trend at corporate parties and they can't find anyone to do that anymore. Or right now a big trend is the live fashion sketches, right? If you go to an event, they have an illustrator there, drawing the people in their beautiful outfits and then you get the photo or you get the drawing while you're standing there. So if you were a caricature artist and you didn't know that fashion illustration was the new trend, you could find that out from other planners. So asking people who also work in the industry is huge. Okay, so let's just review the 3 tactics that I said. The first is let the world tell you, right? Ask your customers. Pretend you are going to do this thing and see if there's any excitement. If not, You kind of have your answer. Number 2 is asking your network of balloon people, like, could you use one of their photos to pitch this to your clients? And number 3 is asking your industry contacts. Can they give you feedback? And all of this is an effort to eliminate the time and energy it takes to start something from scratch, the money that it would take to make prototypes or invest in a bunch of inventory, especially to find out that no one's really interested. I would have found out that my silver balls that I have, right, the big inflatables, in my market, no one wants them. Like, they do really well other places, but nobody wants these things. And now I'm stuck with them. And I didn't order them because I thought they were going to be cool and trendy. I actually ordered them because an event planner wanted them, the event paid for them, and now I have them. But I think just because you see something working somewhere else in the world, like on Instagram, this trend is really popular, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be popular in your area. And a reverse version of that is sometimes you're kind of slow in your area. I'm in the Midwest and we get trends like a full year after New York, California, and Miami. So I actually have like a little crystal ball and I can kind of watch these trends coming and pitch them to my area before I've committed to them. Okay, let's take one more break and then I'm going to wrap up and give you a little homework in case you want to think about some new ideas, implement some new ideas, or get yourself over and past some of these new ideas. Want more behind the scenes tips, mindset shifts, and real talk about growing your balloon business? Then you're going to love On the Bright Side, my private podcast feed just for decorators who want more ease, income, and insight. When you join the email list, you'll instantly unlock 3 of our most popular bonus episodes totally free. These are packed with juicy tips you won't hear on the main feed. So sign up now and start listening instantly. And if you like what you hear, you can subscribe anytime to keep the bonus episodes coming. I'll see you on the bright side. All right, welcome back. Let's wrap this thing up. First, if you're listening and you're like, I can't relate at all, I don't ever have any ideas, I would say your homework would be to start a little notes app and just start writing down things that you see. So maybe you're not like me and you're not wanting to start 50 different businesses. I mean, sometimes I wish I didn't have this curse because my brain is just always on and thinking. But I do also think that it's a blessing because I'm never short on ideas. I am never afraid to pivot. So if you're like a little stagnant and you're like, I don't actually have ideas, scroll on Instagram and anytime you're like, oh, that's cute, instead of just forgetting about it, maybe add it to a little list in your phone on your notes app, right? So just kind of have those ideas. I am a huge Sarah Blakely fan. She's the inventor of Spanx. She's a self-made billionaire. She is incredible. And she said from the time she was like 20. She just kept a paperback, like a notebook, spiral notebook with her, and she still does. And she just writes down all of her ideas. And she says she has a notebook full of ideas. And most of them she hasn't acted on. But she said if you fill a notebook with single-lined ideas, one of them is $1 million idea. She's like, I have no doubt. There's probably 5 of them that are $1 million ideas. But if you don't actually even write them down, you're not going to remember them and you're never going to implement and turn it into that big idea that it could be. So I think the first thing is just write your ideas down. Now, if you're like me and you're cursed with like unlimited ideas, I think writing them down also helps. Otherwise, I tend to get kind of like obsessed and I'm like, okay, now how am I going to do this? I need to order the stuff. I need to start it tomorrow. I'm going to put it up on my website. Instead of just writing it on a list and knowing that it has a little home, that I'm not going to forget about it, that I can revisit it anytime I am looking for some new ideas, just put it somewhere safe. And that way for me, it kind of like allows me to take it out of my brain where it's currently, living rent-free. So I write everything down in an ongoing list. And I also do this for just ideas about my business, things that I should do, right? Like, oh, I should have highlights reels on my Instagram. Well, I don't. And I'm not going to do it anytime soon. So I'm just putting that on my list of things I need to do later and it like gets it out of my brain. So ideas for later. That would be first piece of homework that I would challenge you to do. And then kind of walk through all of these steps and you can get to your conclusion pretty quick. So gut check. Is this something you're super passionate about? 90% of the time for me, it's not. It's just something that I think I could make money doing. And I don't think you can grow and have a long lasting business with that being the only incentive. Eventually, the money's not going to be worth it. Then I think about the money. Is this even profitable? Sometimes an idea is so cute, but then I realize I'm going to be making money $20 at a time instead of $500 at a time, right? Like the average balloon order is pretty substantial. The average ticket item is large. So I don't get very excited about products that are going to sell for like $20, even like something related to balloons, like delivery bouquets. I'm like, helium's really expensive. I would have to hire someone to do the deliveries. Do I really want to be going out every single day to make like $50? Not really. I'd rather do like a Saturday job that's $3,000. Between the gut check and the profit, I get to my conclusion pretty quickly. And then there's that time and energy, right? Do you have any time and energy to do this idea? And is it going to eat into your current business? Or is it going to help it grow? Is it going to boost your current business? Because it totally could. And then business compatibility. Is it even related to what you're doing? Or is it just like way out there and it's an idea for somebody else to do, right? Like, let someone else do the spray tan. Let somebody else do the mobile birthday parties. They're great ideas, and I think you can make a lot of money doing both of them. I'm just not going to be that person. And then all of the test fit ideas, right? Float this to event planners. Ask your other balloon friends if you can borrow their photos to kind of pitch it to your clients. If no one's interested and no one wants it, don't try to make it work. Like I always think of Mean Girls when it's like the word fetch and she's like, fetch, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. You don't need to be the one to like force a trend. Let people tell you what they want and then let it be easy to make those sales. So not every good idea needs to be a business. It can be a great idea. Let somebody else do it. Just because you know that you could do it doesn't mean you need to be the one to do it. But if you're still excited after walking through all of the strategies in this episode, then maybe you have something worth exploring. So I hope this helps if you have a little bit of squirrel, nature like I do not squirrel nature. What am I trying to say? The dog that says squirrel. See, I can't even keep the analogy straight. If you get distracted by shiny objects, this is my strategy for staying on the straight and narrow, not breaking my business that's working perfectly well, and just allowing myself to have ideas, add them to a list. They're still good ideas, but I don't need to be the one to do all of them. And every once in a while, I stumble upon something that's great, like the marquees. They've been a great boost to my business, and I'm really glad that I purchased them. But I definitely took my time walking through all of these questions before I pulled the trigger on a large item like that. All right. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week to continue our Calisan sponsored month, and I will see you then. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bright Balloon Podcast presented by 17 Hats, my go-to system for booking, billing, and managing my balloon business with ease. If you're ready for more mindset shifts, mini trainings, and strategies to help you grow a profitable, sustainable business, join me on the Bright Side, my private podcast feed just for decorators who want more ease, more income, and more insight behind the scenes of my balloon business. It's just $5 a month, and you can sign up right now in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you on the bright side.